Good morning and welcome to VSA Morning Miner. It's the 21st of July and we've got an unbelievably busy morning full of mining news. Paul, how are you doing?
I'm very well. I see it's a bright sunny day outside too, so things are looking up, and I'm seeing too that it looks like the base metal sector pricing is firming up here, so we might be looking at a bottom here in the short term.
Yeah, well, it had looked very oversold after all the momentum trades piling onto the shorts, but not really recognizing how low inventories are and how tight metal markets are fundamentally.
Yes, that's right.
Let's start with VSA client Alchemy Capital, which owns Tees Valley Lithium. They've entered an MOU with Traxys to supply and source lithium feedstock for their first train of their project in Teesside, which will convert intermediate lithium products into lithium hydroxide.
Yes, that's right. Traxys, in this case, being the supplier rather than the off-taker, since they'll be the ones sourcing the materials both internally to the UK or externally to feed the facility at Teesside. This first train to be 24,000 tons per annum of battery-grade lithium hydroxide, and the first of ultimately will be 4 trains to produce about 96,000 tons a year. And that, according to current prognosis, would be about 15% of European projected lithium hydroxide demand at this point.
Yeah, and it's obviously, Alchemy Capital is pretty low valuation stock at the moment, but Tees Valley does have a feasibility study out. They've also chosen this site in the Wilton International Chemical Park, which gives them streamlined planning and permitting. So the timeline's actually pretty fast to get into production in 2024. And Traxys clearly think they've got a serious proposal, as do we, and can execute on this.
Yes, and I think the investors don't quite understand how quickly the permitting process ought to go, because it is in the Teesside port area specifically, which gets a special treatment in the UK as far as having a very clear and short path through the permitting phase.
Yeah. So definitely want to be looking at in detail there. We have got a full initiation note on the website if you want to know more. A couple of Q2 operating figures out. Should we start with Shanta Gold, Paul?
Yes, Shanta Gold with the Q2 production and operating results, 17,500 ounces produced, which is 54% better than the first quarter and exceeded the target by a really substantial amount as well that they had corporately as well. Monthly June production way well up there, 7,500 ounces. So that's a really good positive there. The Singita mine construction, the next mine on the rank for Shanta, is about 63% here at the end of June, and they still are predicting a first production from that operation in March of 2023. So very positive situation moving ahead there too. They also got a maiden mining license covering the Porcupine South resource, which will be feeding as a satellite deposit to the operating new Luica gold mine that is producing these ounces at the moment. And a very good lost time injury frequency rate reported for an operating company, well over 1 million man hours now without a lost time injury.
Very good. And an update from Caledonia Mining as well on an acquisition.
Yeah, the really interesting acquisition they're making here. Bilboes Gold Limited, which is a large gold deposit, which is about 75 kilometers north of Bulawayo in West Zimbabwe. It has a NI 43-101 proven and probable resource on it, grading 2.29 grams per ton gold as open pitable oxides of about 2 million ounces in total. So feasibility study had been done by Bilboes on it to produce about 168,000 ounces per year. So I think we should remind investors that that's a good twice the size of the operating gold output from the underground blanket mine for Caledonia Mining at this point. And if they are successful in the acquisition and bringing Bilboes to production, they would be a company with the gold output about the size of Pan African, which is listed on the AIM market, the South African producer.
Yeah, given their track record, they're probably better placed, as a company to realize value from it, compared to someone else that isn't already relatively highly valued for its Zimbabwe
and a very
risk premium.
successful producer in Zimbabwe as well, despite all the issues around that country or the perception by investors.
Yeah, exactly. I think there was an announcement from Greatland Gold as well, Paul. Any thoughts there?
Yes, that Greatland Gold announcement, they have finally agreed what the valuation of the 5% share purchase option that Newcrest has to acquire Greatland equity. They have agreed the valuation price for that, and that's $60 million US. To remind investors, that's retail investors been essentially hanging on the release of that news for quite some months now, since that's been a thing which was a deadline that was set in December of 2021 for the valuation at that particular date. So this reflects the valuation of the deposit at Havieron itself for December of 2021. And we now know with ramp development and further drilling since then, as well as the geologic understanding, that the deposit is bigger than that would indicate in the valuation at that time.
Excellent. Great, Paul. All right. Well, thanks very much for your thoughts, and we'll be back tomorrow.
Very good. See you then.